I would love to be able to come on here and wait for some people to show up here before I go into this live. But most of you know that me and technology are not best friends. And on top of that, I've had more tech issues in the last 5 days than I think I've had in my entire life with this cell phone. So on this channel, on my channel, I can I have two tabs right now on my own channel, and that is my channel analytics, and the other one is to edit the description of my channel. I no longer have a button to edit videos. Um, if you've been following me for a while, you know initially when I come on here, I'm a shy person and I get really nervous about doing this. So I sometimes babble for 10 or 15 minutes, depending on whether I'm being guided to just intuitively jump into this or whether I have notes. So that makes a difference in my amount of nervousness and also whether people are supportive or nasty on here. Also makes a difference as well. So I would love to be able to come on here and babble for the first 10 or 15 minutes like I normally do. Um, and then get into the actual information because I can just go back, edit my video, and basically cut my babble out. It seems like many people maybe are also having tech issues. I know that the one channel that I religiously watch, because I'm down to watching and reading pretty much nothing, Kate's Regretless Life Tarot, absolutely love her. So smart, so beautiful, so entertaining. She's having massive tech issues as well. So I don't think it's that I am per se being picked on. Um, but yeah, that's somewhat annoying that I can't go back and cut the first few minutes of this out. I would like people to be here from the beginning. So, hello and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. I want to talk about symbolism and I want to talk about the only way that we are going to actually know where we are. As I have said for many years, what we are dealing with now and what our current reality is a real deep dive into symbolism. And that symbolism is the only way for us to truly know where we are. Because in the middle of a military operation, no one is going to be giving you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, including me, right? Because I can only see what I can only see. Hello, James, and how are you? I do apologize that if I interact, I know I would be here forever. I want to talk a little bit about the unplugging of Earth's electric field and the Super Bowl. And you may not think those things go together, but here goes. I also want to say that if you have gone through certain lessons or certain learnings or certain transformations, that is how you are supposed to evolve. And that really is our journey. Yes, I know we do live in a simulation. So I'm going to now cover up the comments because, as usual, I'm a magnet for crazy comments and I want to be able to concentrate for the people that are actually here for the message instead of the people here that are here for reasons other than the message, which it seems like when I'm live, there are so many of you that are here for reasons other than the message. Okay, so let's just cover that up. Okay. Hello and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. When we're talking about your personal journey, your personal evolution, and humanity's journey and humanity's evolution, we go through things, we learn things, we take this journey and we transform. There are so many phrases There are so many titles. There are so many labels. There are so many subjects that I have talked about since the inception of this channel that I no longer talk about. And why is that? It's not because they're not real. It's not because they're not valiant. And it's not because they're not an important part of the journey. But once you learn something and move through it, you, most of the time, if you're consciously evolving, you're not going to keep going back to an old belief system. Okay. So let me give you an example. How long has it been since I've talked about ascension on this channel? How long has it been since I've talked about you being a light worker? How long has it been since I've talked about us being grid holders or grid workers? How long has it been since I've talked about twin flames or soulmates, right? And it's not because those things aren't real or valiant or don't have a purpose in our conscious evolution. But once you learn something and you start to move through it and you come out on the other side, those labels are no longer necessary. Doesn't mean you're not experiencing a twin flame relationship. It doesn't mean you're not experiencing a breakup with your religious indoctrination or your educational indoctrination. It doesn't mean you're not a light worker. It doesn't mean you're not a grid holder, but we don't stay stuck. Now, if I was a person who always wanted to be right, and the point of my channel was something different than conscious evolution, I would go back and edit this channel and take out the videos where I talked about twin flames, or I would remove the videos where I talked about us being light workers. I would remove the videos where I talked about things that I no longer resonate with. And this is a very important truth, because there are so many of us feeling like, or saying, or speaking that if something doesn't resonate with me, or it doesn't jive with me, or it feels off, that it's not true. And while in everyday life, if you're walking down the street and you have the inclination or the urge to cross the street because someone's energy is bad, while that is still relevant and as important as it ever was, there is a need here for self-guidance that eventually becomes labelless. Okay. So if the channel for me was about saying, look, I'm right, I've predicted this, this, and this, and this, and this has come true, and there's a few things that haven't, and that's not the point of my channel. The point of my channel and the point of my journey is conscious evolution. So you can go back to videos on this channel from 4 years ago where I'm talking about twin flames, or I'm talking about your light worker mission, or I'm talking about you as a grid worker. Okay. But we move past those things, but they're important. I don't want to delete those things off my channel because I don't want to delete those things from my journey. Those were very important things. What I want to specifically start this video out by talking about, and I've been talking about, part of this I've been talking about for a really long time. We have most strategically since 2020 been in a fight for our consciousness, and a fight for this planet, and a fight for information, right? We are more connected to information and less connected to people than we've ever been. This has been a fight in duality. And while you stay in duality without neutrality, you are not learning or assessing anything. And this will make more sense if you watched my last video, in which I said the important thing about the Epstein files is that the information is coming out. Whether Trump is guilty or not guilty, whether he is truly in the Epstein files or it's an AI, reconfiguration, none of those things matter. What matters is the information is coming out. And we are so focused on arguing. We're so focused on duality. We're so focused on who's guilty or not guilty. We're so focused on who is right, who is wrong, all of that, that we cannot see clearly. So that's what I want to address here. The question is, do we want the truth? Do we want to be right? Do we want to be psychic? Do we want to see into the future? Do we want to probe into the future? Or do we want to live right now and look at what's happening right now? That last video is really important because the main important thing in that last video was the crescendo and everything that led up to Trump's name being on the Epstein list and the possible reason for that. Again, not for Trump or against Trump, not left, not right, because I understand and I have understood for the last several years that we get nowhere in picking sides. The only way that we realize the actual energetic and physical happenings on this planet is if we steer down that center path of neutrality. Okay. And I've been telling you for many years, the last 5 years, this is a military operation and no one's giving you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, or the military operation would be a flop. Okay. There are very few things that I started talking about in 2018 when I started making videos that I still actually believe, because I am able to look at reality. I'm able to look at the energy field of planet Earth, of the universe, of myself, and I'm willing to shift. I'm willing to change. And the reason for that is I want the truth. And if you want the truth, then you have to stop looking at everything in polarity and you have to start looking at things in neutrality. Now, what is one thing that both sides of polarity, what is one thing that both sides of this equation will give you? That's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Symbolism. You are expected to decode the symbolism if you want the truth. At the same time, in neutrality, if you don't want the truth, if you are more focused on creating a future or living in the now moment, there's nothing wrong with that either, right? Yes. So the question is, do we want the truth? And again, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't care about anything that happened yesterday or 2 months from now. I don't care about the military plan. I don't care about disclosure. I don't care about ascension. I don't care about twin flames. I'm right there with you. But the one truth is, everybody is putting things out symbolically for you to decode. So if you've decided that you don't care about decoding, there's nothing wrong with that either. But I'm going to decode for you the Super Bowl, just like I did last year. Okay. So the Super Bowl is a great example. I have been not really reading, listening, or watching to anything for a very long time. I was on Facebook for maybe a couple of hours this week, kind of scrolling through just to gauge the temperature or the barometer of where we are as a humanity. We are fighting. Why would Bad Bunny be on the show? Maybe you don't think he's that popular. Maybe you think it's crazy that someone from Puerto Rico is singing in Spanish when that's not the native language. Maybe you don't like the disgusting, sexual, chaotic overtone. Maybe you realize the Super Bowl for what it is. And all of those things are great. All of those things are important. All of those things are valiant. But again, if you're going to fight over who played, who sang, how it's fixed, all these things, you're missing the point of the symbolism. And if you don't care, it doesn't matter. Last year, I didn't watch the Super Bowl at all, but I did watch the halftime show to decode it. Those that are here last year are aware of that. This year, I only didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the halftime. I didn't watch the halftime show either. But let me tell you what I did do. I did go on the internet and I looked at who the performers were. Okay. And I looked at the song titles and that the order that those song titles are in. So not only have I been telling you for years that you are not going to be given the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth from either side of polarity in the middle of a psych op, I have also been saying to you for the last year and a half that you have to, if only if you want to know the truth, you have to decipher the symbology. Okay. There's a lot more into this, and I didn't take a whole lot of time because honestly, my focus right now is creating my own quantum future. And I'll go into that also, more than negating, relegating, or looking at the past and what it means. The question is, do we want the truth? And if the answer is yes, then we have to decode that truth symbolically, because it's not going to be given to you over the airwaves in a plain, simple message. I know we would love it if that happened. Okay. This is really important. There was a lot of important symbology that was in the Super Bowl last year, but I will say this year is way more important. And it was the same thing last year. A bunch of people arguing about, I'm not going to pay attention to it. And again, that's fine if that's your choice. If you want to know the truth, I'm going to break it down for you. This is minimal. Again, I'm focused on my own quantum future, what I'm projecting and what I'm creating. But I thought this was important enough to share. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be doing this, because my choice right now is to live in the moment and create the quantum future for myself that I wish to see. I am of the world, but not in it. I am not participating in that way. If we want the truth, we have to decode the symbolism. So here it goes. Now, I do realize that everything was in Spanish in the Super Bowl, okay? Minus maybe like two of the songs, I think. Okay, so let's dive into this, shall we? So I don't speak Spanish, and so I'm going to eliminate that part, and I'm just going to give you the order of the songs because it's important, and the title of the songs. The first thing I want to say is, at least since 2017, every single person that looked into obscured information or underground sources or military whistleblowers or any kind of whistleblowing situation has been called a crazy person that needs a tinfoil hat, right? So what has the reference been? At least since 2017, the reference has been to those who study conspiracy theory, most of which is conspiracy fact at this time. But since 2017, we, the people studying those conspiracy theories, studying conspiracies, has been considered going down the rabbit hole. It has hugely been made apparent and spread across this entire planet since 2017 that those that looked into conspiracy theories were, quote, going down the rabbit hole. Now, Bad Bunny is like one of the number one streamers in music, but is he popular? There are so many more popular people that they could have chosen for the Super Bowl. Okay. So I believe, even though he is popular, I'm not saying he isn't, not saying he sucks, not saying he's great. I am purely looking at symbolism. So let's go into this. Bad Bunny. Okay. Is that a reference to all the people that are going, quote, down the rabbit hole since 2017 and the millions of people that jumped on that bandwagon between 2019 and 2020? Right? Is this a message for all those people that have gone down the rabbit hole in the last 5 years? Maybe some of you, it's been 3 decades. Bad Bunny. The rabbit hole is bad. Seeking information about conspiracy theories are bad, Okay. Again, since 2017, it has been referred to as going down the rabbit hole anytime you're studying conspiracies. So, Bad Bunny, let's start with that. I believe he was chosen just for his name, not just his popularity, because there's a ton more people. Okay. So the fact that it's all in Spanish, whether you're Spanish speaking or not, and this is, nothing against anyone speaking Spanish or 20 other languages, don't care. This is me making an observation. So here's the playlist from the Super Bowl, and these titles were in Spanish. I don't read Spanish, nor do I speak Spanish. Well, I can partially read Spanish, right? But let's just look at the symbolism, because that's what I'm talking about, and that's the reason why I'm here. The very first song, and I'm not going to give you the song titles in Spanish. I'm going to give you the song titles in English, because the point of this is symbolism, and I'm hoping you're going to get that. Now, I'm not extensively dived in. I didn't do a meditation. I didn't myself, was not a Bad Bunny. I did not go down the rabbit hole and really drop into this. I simply got the list of the song titles, translated those to English, and wrote down what I felt about it. So here we go. Here's our deep dive. The first song was Auntie Asked Me. Okay. Have you gone down the rabbit hole? Are humans asking a lot of questions? What are we asking questions about? The second song title translated to English is Twerk Alone. I think you know what twerking alone means. Okay, so twerking in secret, wild parties, sexual chaos. Song number 3, Monaco, which is the playground for the rich. Song number 4 was just EOO. And that is nothing other than a stylized chant. There's no meaning except for that we're all watching, we're all involved, and we're all chanting the same thing. Think of Mockingbird Media, where every channel is giving you the same information. Okay? Humans asking a lot of questions. Dancing alone or in secret, wild parties, sexual chaos, Monaco, playground of the witch, Playground of the Witch. EOO, stylized chant with no meaning. It's just the point that everyone is like Mockingbird Media. They're all chanting at the same time. Die with a Smile. Happy transformation. Death in the tarot means transformation and rebirth. Is this a rebirth that's going to make us smile? Song number 6. The Unforgettable Dance. Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever going to forget this time in history, especially when the truth comes out and we have all the information. Right now, we're connecting the dots. Okay, song number 7 was the Puerto Rican pronunciation of New York. That's self-explanatory. Song number 8, what happened to Hawaii? Well, there's hundreds of things that have happened to Hawaii in the last 200 years. One of the most prolific, in my opinion, is that we went from an indigenous land to a commercial capitalized plantation. Song number 9, the blackout, power outage. How long have we been talking about the blackout and the power outage? That one I also feel is self-explanatory, and if you do want to look at the symbolism and you do want to dive down the rabbit hole, or you want to be a Bad Bunny yourself, you can look up the song titles and do exactly what I did. Just write down the titles and just write down exactly what came to my mind when I read that title. The blackout, the power outage is something that we've been talking about for a really, really long time. Okay, song number 10, Coffee with Rum. When something's hard to swallow, what do? You mix it in with something else. Coffee with rum. Also, coffee is a real upper, right? And we're not having a health discussion. Coffee is an upper because it's a stimulant, and alcohol is a depressant because it's a downer. So this is telling you one thing. It may be hard for people to swallow. They may have to mix in or stir in other information for people to swallow it. Also, for some, it's going to be a real upper, a real stimulant. Here's the truth. I've waited for so long. For some people who know nothing about it, alcohol. a real depressant, a real downer. Finally and lastly, song number 11, Should I Have Taken More Photos? Totally self-explanatory. Now, let me ask you something. What is the first thing that comes to mind when I've given you the song list in English, translated from Spanish? What do Monaco, New York, and Hawaii all have in common? And why are they pinpointing to geographical locations? Well, I think they're doing it for multiple reasons. Hello, Scott Evans. My card slipped down and I see Scott Evans here. Hello, Scott, and how are you? Okay, Monaco, New York, and Hawaii all have in common. They all symbolize status, wealth, travel, and global visibility. Okay, so maybe go back up to the top or watch this twice as I broke down the list and what to me it feels like it means symbolically. You'll probably have more to say to that. You're very brilliant. I'm sure that you will also get insights or sparks of information. But Monaco, New York, and Hawaii all symbolize status, travel, wealth, and global visibility. Wealth, power, and association. Is there going to be a blackout of wealth, power, and association? This cannot be by accident, okay? Now, let's look at Monaco. And we're just scratching the surface. I'm just making a point that symbolism is the only way to know what we are being really told from any side of the equation here. Monaco is the formula for billionaires, okay? Tax haven reputation. Read into that what you will. New York, Wall Street, corporate power. Hawaii, high value everything. Again, Hawaii went from indigenous land, indigenous people, to commercial capitalism. Also, Monaco, Hawaii, and New York, that's where people with money go. That's where outsiders go. Monaco, New York, and Hawaii are where outsiders with power, influence, and money go. These are places, the 3 places on the planet where money moves. Okay? So we're talking about the movement of money, also something we've known for some of us many decades. Okay? Moving money. All 3 places speak very valiantly of outside influences. These are all places that have been overtaken by wealth, tourism, and global capitalism. Now, the last thing I'm going to read into this symbolically. Hawaii, part of the island chain. Monaco, Mediterranean coast. New York, port city, island boroughs. Okay. Island chain, Mediterranean coast, island boroughs. What's the message here? Water, port, gateway. Now, like everything else, the majority of the QAnon movement and everything that encompasses was a psyop, partially negative, partially positive. Again, something to look at with neutrality. Port, water, gateway. What have we heard for the last 5 years? Watch the water. And this is why I'm telling you it's so important to look at that. Now, New York, port city, island boroughs, Mediterranean coast of Monaco and Hawaiian island chain, water, port, gateway, representing the 3 stages of expansion: root, ambition, and elite global visibility. Root, ambition, elite global visibility. Blackout. Okay, go back to the list if you missed something here. I wanted to share that. I also want to share that even though I feel it's super important to keep all the order videos up of the things I don't even believe in or resonate with anymore, again, resonation does not mean that something is true or not true. It means you are on the same resonant frequency with that. Okay. Maybe you resonated with twin flame yesterday and today you don't. Maybe you just have a lot of pistivity over the subject. Okay. Maybe you no longer resonate with light worker. Maybe you no longer resonate with grid worker, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, we can't be mad at ourselves for taking a journey. That's why I'm not erasing past videos that talked about things that I am no longer on the vibrational frequency of. How would I have gotten here without those things? We need words, we need language, and we need titles to take a journey. Otherwise, how do I talk to you about it? How do you talk to your neighbor about it? How do you talk to your family or your partner, your husband, your wife, your coworkers? How do you talk about anything without words, without labels, without belief systems? Okay, so they're important, even if it's for a limited time. There's a real scramble at the end of the year of the snake. We got 5 days, almost said 5 years. We have 5 days before we move into the fire horse. That happens on the same day that we're having this eclipse. This is a big energy shift. A lot of people are in a hot seat. There's a lot of blaming. There's a lot of, I don't like this artist. How dare you come to America and speak in Spanish? There's all these arguing, right? Because as long as you're arguing, you're not looking at the list of songs and what the symbolism is telling you. It's telling you all the things that I just said. And I'm sure there's hundreds, probably thousands more things that in your own brilliance you can detect or dive into or slip down the Bad Bunny hole with. Okay, but I'm just scratching the surface. This is a turning point where we have to use our intuition. It doesn't matter whose name, like I said in the last video, it doesn't matter why Trump's name is on the Epstein list, because you can go back to that video if you want to see how that means that everybody on the planet is paying attention instead of just the people in America, or instead of just the people, that are Republicans, or just the people that are Democrats. By doing this, it is an all-encompassing operation, okay? And the whole point of the last video was really, you can't go in there into the microcosm of what is happening, and because you'll get lost in it. We don't have all the information. You have to look at the bigger picture of what the story is telling you and realize that those that are telling the story on any side are looking for the most appropriate way to get that information to you. And some are looking for the most efficient way to get disinformation to you. You have to decide. This is a turning point of major transformation. Okay. And I've said this many times, but every calendar that predated the Roman Empire taking over and starting their own calendar, it started the zodiac starts with Aries in March. It's not a new year in January. So really what this is saying is new year reset, energetic reset has to happen before a physical reset can happen. Now, I want to briefly talk about what the energy is like. I am not a person that gets headaches, okay? If you've ever drank way too much, or maybe on Thanksgiving way overindulged in crap food that you normally don't eat, you can get a real and serious headache from that, okay? But aside from doing things that I know intentionally would give me a headache, I do not have a proclivity to headache. I have had the most amazing pressure on my third eye for 5 days that I actually broke down and took an aspirin. and I have zero medication in this house. I don't have cough syrup. I don't have allergy medicine. I don't, I don't have Benadryl. I don't have anything. In fact, the only reason why I even have the bottle of pain reliever is because I cleaned out my mom's medicine cabinet when she died and inherited pretty much everything that was in it. Okay. So I felt happy that I had that yesterday. But normally I will find another way to work that out. The pressure is very intense. The feeling is, I don't know where I am. I don't know what day it is. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I believe in. I don't believe in anything. I believe in everything. The universe is a hologram. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so as we're getting closer to the eclipse, and again, I'll say, I've probably said this 100 times, everything is not about astrology or astronomy or your birth chart or whatever, but it's an energy, okay? And we're getting ready to start something new. We're getting ready to start something that is the reason we came here. Okay, we really need to go out on a limb, act like we're children, and take chances. The entire global elite system, the government, the financial institutions, and everything else that encompasses is all going towards a reset. And I'm not talking about Nasara, Jasara. I don't talk about that anymore either. I am talking about it is time for a true renaissance where we, the people, quantumly create what we want. It's important to understand the energy that we're in so we know how to do that, which is the only reason why I'm here. And honestly, at this rate, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be making videos, period. I feel like I could talk until the end of time. And the only thing that matters on this entire planet is that you're arguing with your neighbor about whether you like Bad Bunny or not, whether you didn't understand Spanish, whether, it's Democrats that are, pointed to in the Epstein files, whether it's Republicans. Everything is divide and conquer. Everything is an argument. And we do not get any information until we sit with neutrality. Okay. And I probably wouldn't have sat in neutrality about the Super Bowl had I watched it or watched the halftime show or whatever. So I'm purely looking at logical information. What is the song list? What is the symbolism? And then I just went with my intuition on what does this title or phrase mean? And that was it. This is a turning point. There are millions of people in the hot seat. I am aware that Pam Bondi said something to the effect that, if we eliminate everyone that that's connected to this, then the whole government would collapse. And some people don't want that, and some people want it. Again, it's all about divide and conquer. But I think, to me, that's just for us to understand it's not good or evil. It's not black or white. It's not Democratic or Republican. It's information coming to light. You have to use your discernment. And whether something resonates with you today, tomorrow, yesterday, 5 years ago, 20 years from now, is only pinpointing to your own vibrational resonance right now. Doesn't mean it is the truth or is not the truth, because everything that comes out of every person's mouth on the planet, to one degree or another, is truth, whether they've created it in their head, whether it's illusory, it's still a truth to that person. We have to stop saying it's not true because it doesn't resonate, because that could mean you're not there yet, or that could mean you've been there, done that, and come out the other side, and you're no longer on that frequency. Okay. We need to choose our language and creation very carefully. Now, the head pressure, the weirdness. I am not around a lot of people. And normally when I make these energy forecasts, I have the information, then I will tell you what it's like to be around people and how they're processing it. I can't really do that right now in real time because I'm really not around people. Almost never. So my only judge of that is what everyone is posting on social media. I do not look at Instagram, except for maybe when Scott posts. I see a Scott Evans post. I'm not looking at Instagram, even though I have it. I'm not looking at TikTok, even though I have it. I'm spending less than probably 5 minutes a day on Facebook. Whatever I'm doing, it's more for entertainment. Okay, I'm looking for something to make me laugh. But that is my only gauge of that. So YouTube is pretty much the only platform that I'm on. I made several posts on Facebook this last week, and I haven't even done that in a millennia because I want to stay out of it. It seems like no matter how people try to get the message across, the message is not coming across. As long as you're picking sides, as long as you're arguing about the person, the music, the language, whatever it is that you don't like, you're missing the symbolism. And so the majority of the planet is missing the symbolism. Is there somebody else out there telling you to look at the symbolism? Is there somebody else out there dancing down that middle line of neutrality? Maybe there are. Certainly there has to be. But those people in my minimal time on social media platforms are not showing up in my feed at all. I have seen, I will say, what Pam Gregory, who I believe is an astrologist. She gives energy reports about what's happening in astrology. She's the only person that I'm aware of in the last year that actually shows up in my feed that is actually coming from a stance of neutrality. Now, I think she's probably close to 70, so perhaps she just has more, some more brilliant lessons under her belt than the rest of us. But I will also say that probably the reason that I'm not seeing other people asking you to be neutral and stop fighting long enough to see what is actually being said to you is also not something that social media is interested in people listening to. As long as we continue to fight, and as long as we are stuck in polarity, that's as long as we are in resistance to change. Everyone keeps saying they want change, but your stuckness in polarity is preventing the very change that you want. As far as the head pressure, and you guys may be experiencing other things as well. I am very cognizant of how music makes me feel, how running or walking makes me feel, how qigong makes me feel, how certain drinks or certain food makes me feel. And I keep things to a minimum that don't allow me to really feel into what is happening within my own energy and the energy on the world stage as well. Not everyone is doing that. I have made jokes for probably the last 4 years that if you put everybody on a farm somewhere and gave them an organic diet of choice with no fluoride and no, drugs and no whatever, that probably in about 30 days, they'd be like, oh my God, what have I been doing my whole life? Every single thing in physical reality is here to hinder you. Okay. I exited out of the pre-made food thing a really long time ago. I have seen family, friends, coworkers that have been, happily married and trying to have kids for 10 years that can't. And a big reason for that is the genetically altered food does something to the male and female reproductive organs. Everything in physical reality that is mainstream is against you being the healthiest, happiest, procreative person that you can be. 4444. Wow. The energy of right now, how I can best describe it, the sun has split in half and somebody unplugged the earth. Okay. You guys may not have as many tech problems as I do. I'm in constant issues, phones, computers, whatever. I don't have anything other than a phone and a computer because my energy can't deal with it. I will break blenders and coffee makers. I buy a new coffee maker probably every 3 or 4 months. We are all batteries. Some of us have a higher charge in that electric field than others. It feels like the sun has split in two and someone unplugged the earth. Now, when my phone starts giving me issues, which is basically every day, I turn it off, reset it. If I have a problem with my computer and I don't have cable or anything, but I do have Wi-Fi in the house that comes through my computer. If it's not working, if it's not responding to the things that I do, what do? You unplug it, you wait a couple minutes and plug it back in. If you feel like you're in free fall, if you feel like the bottom of the ride has dropped out, literally, energetically speaking, some of you feel things when they happen. Some of you feel it before they happen. Some of you feel it afterwards. The energetic feeling to me, the pressure in the head, the weirdness, the what day is it? I insisted on Monday that it was Wednesday. Nobody knows what day it is. Nobody knows what time it is. Even people that have no idea, right? Because I am friends with people that are out in the working world every single day, and people with zero knowledge of a planetary awakening still don't know what day it is. They still feel like their reality, quote, has been unplugged. Energetically, the best way I can describe it is the sun has split into two and someone has plugged in the earth. Now, I said earlier, literal, I didn't mean to say that. Energetically or psychically or spiritually, we're at a planetary unplug before a planetary energetic plug-in reset. And I use that example because I know that anybody who has problems with their cable or their internet is probably going to, unplug the modem and plug it back in. Okay. And that's where we are energetically. I wish that I felt like anything. Let me rephrase that. All of the work that I came here to do, all the things that I am doing energetically are what matter most, because I do that. Again, I'm not the truth, the whole truth, and the nothing but the truth, but because I spend so much time energetically working on my field and energetically breaking down how things feel instead of how things are. What's the symbolism and how do those things feel to me and the people I interact with? That is the most important job that I came here to do. Having this channel, trying to, and the reason I've had this channel, the reason I started this channel was initially when I started writing, and I was writing, not making videos. I never made videos. I wrote just on Facebook for 3 years. And it became one of those things where, Scott would message me, literally not Scott, but like say Scott would message me and I'm going through this. And then, Jenny would message me, I'm going through this. And even though those people's situations were different, energetically, spiritually, and in a journalistic kind of way, everybody was asking for the same thing, right? They were asking for help in deciphering what was going on with them personally, or sometimes even in the world. And so the reason I started this was I thought, between working full-time and answering everybody's questions, personal questions or world stage questions, I wasn't having any time to myself, but I really felt like I wanted to be helpful. And then I just had the light bulb moment and I thought, instead of individually addressing 2 to 20 people a day, I could come here and do it this way and maybe be in assistance, right? So many people on this planet feel what I do, but don't always decipher it. And the reason usually that people don't decipher it is one, they're putting something in their body that's causing a mixed signal, or two, they have a husband or wife, kids, full-time jobs, and they're simply going all the time and they don't have that quiet time. I've had a very quiet time and a very, very, very quiet life, most of my life. Last 3 decades, I have pretty much spent my time making my own food, meditating, doing multiple forms of exercising and journaling every single day, and not doing the other extraneous, busy 10 children, 3 jobs kind of thing. And a lot of people, when I would help people understand something that was happening to them in their personal life or on the world stage, it was simply usually because the symbol was for them was scrambled. So in other words, there are a lot of people that will watch this and they'll say, God, that's exactly what I'm feeling, but I wasn't able to translate the words. I wasn't able to translate the energy into words, and that's what I've done for you. But again, the most important reason I came here was to do energetic work on myself and become the highest version of me. I have just made the decision years ago to help as many people as I could along the way. As I'm saying that, right now, I feel like the way that I'm helping energetically is purely energetic. I don't think that my videos are ever going to get out to enough people to make a difference. And it's not like I made videos for 2 months or 2 years and made that decision. I started writing about these things in 2016. That was my coming out of the closet, or 2000 and into 2015. And I started making videos in 2018. Part of it is the fact that as long as we're arguing and we're in duality and non-neutrality, we will never solve anything. So I'm guessing that people showing energetically, spiritually, the neutral path are not something that social media wants to really have get out there. Because if the whole world stopped fucking arguing right now and zoomed out and looked at the disclosure that we've said we wanted and the truth that we've said we've wanted for a really long time, we would realize that we're getting it and we would be happy instead of arguing over names on a list. Okay? Now, that being said, there are different waves of consciousness. We don't all jump into certain things at the exact same time. We all don't take a quantum shift at the exact same time. We don't all decide to divorce our partner at the same time. We don't decide to divorce the paradigm or the government or religion or indoctrinated education at the same time. We do it in shifts so that we can help each other. But as long as we're arguing, we're not helping each other. And so while I realize the importance energetically of my assistance to myself and this planet, I'm not sure that coming on here and making videos is doing any good for me, or anybody else for that matter. So this may be a short-lived thing. And I will leave you on this note in finality here. I want to tell you, since probably 7th grade, I would come home from school and I would write in my journal, what was this day like? Oh, this, I really like this person, or I learned something great in school today. Whatever it was, right? Me journaling what's happening. I believe that started in 7th grade. It may have been a little bit earlier. That is something I have done my entire life. What happened today? What was my intuition today? What was my psychic message today? Who did I do a reading for today? What did I see on the sun today? What did I eat today? How do I feel today? What have I changed in my life today. Okay, and it hit me about a week ago. Again, there's nothing wrong with journaling. It's very insightful. It's so very helpful for you to communicate with you, for you to look at you. But here's my recent realization. And again, not saying anything's right or wrong, because I never do, right? It's a temporary, if you're doing this correctly, what you're doing, what you're saying, your relationships, your job, everything should be a temporary situation until you change. Everything should be a temporary situation until you transform, and everything should be a temporary situation until you up level. I am not feeling much need to focus on anything in the past. I'm wanting to be in the moment of now. My focus has been for the last year, maybe year and a half, stop looking at the past and live in the now. Now, my shift that happened about a week or so ago, and I've been doing the manifestation thing for a long time. We're always consciously or unconsciously creating. My realization a week ago is if I really, really, really want to become an energetic powerhouse, that I won't come home from school or come home from work or come home from the date and write down how it went. I will do this. So the very first day I had the idea to do this, I started it, but I didn't do it on paper because I wanted it to be a new notebook and a separate notebook, and I wanted it to be totally separate. Again, change, evolution, sovereignty from not only an old world, but sovereignty and transformation from old self. That has been 35 years. Is that right? Close to, no. It's been over 40 years that I have said, here's what happened today. Last week, this is what I started. Oh, that's going to be backwards. Future quantum field notes. I am no longer saying, what happened today? What was my intuition today? What was the vision I had today? Now what I'm doing is I'm going into the notebook and I'm saying, okay, February 15th, 2026. And then I'm writing out for February 15th, 2026, my order. Okay. And I'm saying it as if it would happen. So I'm saying in quantum field notes, I'm saying February 15th of 2026, I am this. I am in the realization of this. I have created this. This is what is happening. Okay. So I'm putting on paper, quantum field notes, my order. I'm placing my order on paper. Just like you would on, on a Friday night when you're ordering a pizza, you're going to either call or go on the internet and place your order. I'm placing my order in advance for exactly, and again, you can do this if you want to feel called to do this. I've been blown away by it, and I've only been doing it for a couple of days. There's no wrong or right way for you to do anything, feel anything, express anything, learn anything, or journey. There's no right or wrong journey. There is just the journey of self. So what I will do is I will go in, like today, I'll go in and do like February 16th, February 17th, February 18th. And if you watch the last video, I talked about, I ordered to run into my soulmate in the grocery store on Friday. And then I ran into someone that felt like that person on Thursday, and I blew it off because it wasn't Friday and it wasn't the grocery store. Having said that, I'm not going in there and putting someone's name or putting a time of day or anything like that. It's just, again, zoom out. Quantum field notes is about zooming out and saying on February 15th, here is the experience. And I'm talking about it as I am, as that 3 days from now is the truth and the absolute truth, but with loose parameters. Okay. So without names, without times a day, stuff like this. Just, I'm in this. This is what happened. This is what happened 3 days from now. Okay. And then on that day, I will go back in on that day, look at what I've ordered, reread that, and then make brief notes, field notes about how that day went. My focus went from past. How do I change? How do I transform? How do I best become the highest version of myself on this journey? How do I best help people on this planet? How do I best shift the energy to how do I do right now, right here? How do I stay in the present moment? And again, I know manifestation for me has been a decades long thing, but I am going to now program the quantum field for myself with future quantum field notes. This is how the day is going to go, and then go back and say, this is how the day went. Because one, that'll show you whether you're doing this or not. Two, it'll show you how efficiently you're doing this. And I'm guessing within a couple weeks, it's also going to show me how much more proficient I have become at ordering my quantum future. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. If you are looking for anything, any kind of personal assistance, reach out to me, leave a comment on this video once it processes. I do not ever go back and look at the comments that happened during the live. I don't even know how to do it anymore. My buttons on my phone are continually changing when it comes to YouTube. Some of you have my phone number, reach out. Some of you can reach out here when the video is done processing, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, you can reach out that way as well. You let me know, you give me your feedback, because I'm honestly feeling like the more I do this, the less productive maybe that it's becoming. And I want to be helpful to you, to the planet, but mostly I want to be helpful to my own health, body, mind, and spirit connection, because my body, mind, spirit connection, my wholeness, my return to power is what shifts this earth more than anything else. This channel is just a sidebar of assistance. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Until next time, if there is a next time. Thank you.